Welcome to Relation Tales. Please like this video and subscribe Relation Tales. We're grateful for each and every one of you. Let us know where in the world you're tuning in from. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. Let's begin. I didn't suspect my wife because of something she did. I suspected her because of what she stopped doing. My name is Lucas Merritt, and for most of my marriage, life ran on patterns. Not exciting ones, comfortable ones. Morning coffee at the same time. Evening walks after dinner. Small jokes that didn't need punchlines because they belonged to us. My wife, Vanessa, used to live inside those routines with me. Then one by one, she stepped out of them. She stopped asking if I wanted dinner when she stayed late. Stopped leaving notes on the fridge. Stopped telling me where she was going, only when she'd be back. At some point, she said once, not even looking up from her phone, "You just trust the person you married." I did. That was the problem. Vanessa worked in event planning, client meetings, venue visits, last-minute chaos. She used to vent nonstop. Names, drama, frustrations. I knew everyone in her office without ever meeting them. Then suddenly, there were gaps. Her phone was always face down. Password changed. Notifications muted. She started dressing differently. Not nicer, just intentional. The kind of effort that wasn't meant for comfort or confidence, but for being seen. I asked her once, carefully, calmly, "Everything okay lately?" She smiled. Not warmly. Politely. Why wouldn't it be? That smile stuck with me longer than it should have. The real shift came when she began accusing me. If I came home late, she questioned it. If I checked my phone, she watched me. If I smiled at a waitress, her jaw tightened. Projection wears many disguises. I didn't know that yet. One evening, I got a message from a number I didn't recognize. "You don't know me, but I think we need to talk." I stared at it for a long time. No emojis. No introduction. Just a sentence that carried weight. I didn't respond. Instead, I started paying attention. I noticed Vanessa's calendar had work dinners that didn't align with her schedule. I noticed she showered the moment she came home. I noticed she hummed when she texted, something she only did when she was excited. Desire has a sound. I followed the trail quietly. Bank statements. Shared cloud storage. Old emails synced to a forgotten tablet in the guest room. That's when I saw a name repeat. Derek Hale. Not a coworker. Not a client. Something else. I searched deeper. Social media. Tagged photos. Comments that lingered too long. Familiar jokes that weren't meant for strangers. And then I found her. Not Vanessa. Another woman. Her name was Emily Rowe. She wasn't hiding. She wasn't secretive. She posted openly. Travel photos. Coffee cups across from a man whose face never fully showed, but whose watch I recognized immediately. I bought that watch. That night, I didn't confront Vanessa. I booked a reservation instead. Not to expose her. Not yet. To give the truth a place to sit down. And the moment it did, everything she thought she controlled began slipping through her fingers. Once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. Every lie leaves fingerprints. Timing. Tone. Absence. I stopped asking questions and started letting the silence answer for me. Vanessa mistook my calm for ignorance. That was her second mistake. Her first was thinking I'd panic. Instead, I slowed down. I woke up earlier. Stayed out longer. Let her believe I was distracted by work, worn down by routine. When she asked why I seemed distant, I mirrored her favorite response. "Just tired," I said. "It's nothing." She accepted that too easily. Desire makes people careless. Guilt makes them cruel. Vanessa started snapping over nothing. A dish left in the sink. A light left on. She'd sigh dramatically, roll her eyes, mutter that she felt trapped. Trapped by a man who paid the mortgage, remembered anniversaries, and still looked at her like she was the first person in the room. Meanwhile, she was slipping pieces of herself to someone else. I learned Derek Hale wasn't a fantasy. He was real, married, and just as arrogant as he was reckless. He worked in commercial real estate. Traveled often, used confidence like armor. The kind of man who believed consequences were for other people. The messages between them weren't explicit. They didn't need to be. They were full of promises, inside jokes, and future plans that didn't include me or Derek's wife. That wife, Emily Rowe, had noticed too. She was sharper than Vanessa ever realized. Emily reached out again 2 weeks after the first message. "I'm not trying to start drama. I just need the truth." I replied this time. "So do I." We didn't rush into details. We spoke like two people standing on opposite sides of the same cracked mirror, comparing reflections. Dates lined up. Excuses matched. The same late meetings, the same unexpected trips, the same lies recycled. Emily didn't cry. She didn't rage. Her messages were calm, precise, almost clinical. That scared me more than anger would have. I don't want revenge, she said during our first call. I want clarity. I understood that feeling, wanting the ground to stop shifting beneath your feet. But clarity doesn't come without pressure. Vanessa grew bolder. She started staying out overnight, claiming last-minute projects. She stopped pretending to care if I believed her. One night, she said something that stuck with me. You don't even look like you'd fight for this marriage. She said it like an insult. I smiled. Maybe I don't need to, I replied. She scoffed, walked away. Didn't notice how carefully I watched her pack a small overnight bag she never brought home. Emily and I met once before everything unfolded. Neutral ground. A quiet cafe in another part of town. No drama. No raised voices. Just two people comparing wounds. She was nothing like Vanessa. Where Vanessa was performative, Emily was composed. Where Vanessa chased attention, Emily radiated quiet confidence. She didn't ask for sympathy. She didn't apologize for existing. We didn't touch. We didn't flirt. What connected us wasn't attraction. It was alignment. They think they're smarter than us, Emily said, stirring her drink. They think secrecy is power. It isn't, I replied. Timing is. That's when the plan took shape. Not impulsive. Not cruel. Just inevitable. Vanessa thought she was in control. She believed I was disengaging because I was weak. Derek believed his charm made him untouchable. They both underestimated one thing. Patience. I suggested a dinner. Framed it as an olive branch. A chance to reconnect. Somewhere quiet. Upscale but discreet. A place Vanessa liked because it made her feel important. She hesitated, just a second too long. Sure, she said. That sounds nice. She dressed carefully that night. Too carefully. The same perfume she wore when she was trying to impress someone new. I noticed everything. Said nothing. Emily arrived separately. We agreed not to acknowledge each other until the moment demanded it. I ordered wine. Vanessa barely touched hers. She kept glancing around the room, nerves creeping into her posture. Why here, she asked. No reason, I said. Just felt right. Then she saw her. Emily didn't look at Vanessa at first. She focused on the menu, calm and unbothered. The kind of composure that rattles people who rely on chaos. Vanessa stiffened. Her eyes narrowed. She leaned toward me, voice sharp but controlled. Who is she? I didn't answer. Emily looked up then, met Vanessa's stare without flinching. Her voice was gentle, almost kind. Hi, she said. I think we've been circling the same problem. Vanessa's face drained of color. What is this? She snapped, turning to me. Is this some kind of joke? I folded my hands on the table. No, I said quietly. It's the end of the guessing. Vanessa laughed, too loud, too fast. You think you're clever? She said. You have no idea what you're talking about. Emily tilted her head, still calm. Actually, she said, I do. And that was when the truth, no longer interrupted, began to speak for itself. Vanessa's laughter lingered in the air longer than it should have. Not because it was confident, but because it was desperate. She looked at Emily, then at me, as if waiting for one of us to blink. To admit this was some elaborate misunderstanding. When neither of us did, her posture shifted, shoulders tightening, jaw setting, the performance beginning. You two planned this, she said, voice low and sharp. This is sick. Emily didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. No, she replied calmly. What's sick is being told you're imagining things while your life quietly splits in two. Vanessa scoffed and turned to me. You believe her? You believe a stranger over your own wife. I met her eyes. For the first time in months, I didn't feel the need to explain myself. I believe patterns, I said, and I believe evidence. That word, evidence, hit her like a physical blow. She opened her mouth to argue, then stopped. Her gaze flicked to Emily's purse, then to her phone on the table, then back to me. Fear crept in. Emily reached into her bag and placed her phone gently beside her plate. The screen lit up with a message thread. Names blurred, but the timestamps were unmistakable. Vanessa leaned back, as if the table had suddenly pushed her away. This is insane, she whispered. You're twisting things. Emily nodded slowly. That's what Derek said too. That name did it. Vanessa's breath caught. Not dramatically. Not visibly. But I noticed. I noticed everything now. You know his name, Vanessa said, trying to regain control. That doesn't mean anything. Emily smiled. Not cruelly but knowingly. It means everything, she replied. It means you didn't just lie to your husband. You helped my husband lie to me. Silence settled heavy between us. Vanessa's anger flared next. It always did when fear failed. So what? She snapped. You followed us. You tracked us. That's not normal. I leaned back in my chair. No, I said. What's not normal is blaming the people who noticed instead of the ones who broke trust. Her eyes flashed. You don't get to judge me. I'm not judging, I replied. I'm choosing. That word landed harder than I expected. Vanessa stared at me, searching my face for hesitation, for guilt, for the man who used to fold himself smaller to keep the peace. He wasn't there anymore. Emily picked up her glass and took a slow sip of water. Then she spoke again, her tone steady. We're not here to yell. We're here because we deserve honesty. And because you and Derek assumed silence meant ignorance. Vanessa's voice dropped. What do you want? It was the first honest question she'd asked all night. I didn't answer immediately. I let the moment stretch. Let the weight of uncertainty press down on her the way it had pressed down on me for months. I want you to understand something, I said finally. This isn't an ambush. It's a conclusion. Her eyes narrowed. You think this ends here? Emily met her gaze. No, it ends where it should have never begun. Vanessa stood abruptly, chairs scraping against the floor. Heads turned. The quiet restaurant hummed with restrained curiosity. This is humiliating, she hissed. You did this on purpose. I remained seated. No, I said. You did. She laughed again, this time brittle, sharp. You think you're winning, she said. You think this makes you strong. I looked at her, truly looked at her, and felt something surprising. Nothing. I don't need to win, I said. I just need to stop losing myself. That broke her composure. Her face twisted, not in anger, but in something closer to panic. You don't know what you're throwing away, she said. You'll regret this. Emily stood then, gathering her things calmly. Regret comes from staying silent too long, she said. We're done here. Vanessa turned to her, eyes blazing. You think you're better than me? Emily paused. Consider the question. No, she said gently. I think I'm done being smaller than I deserve. Vanessa's gaze snapped back to me. So that's it. You team up with her and act like saints. I rose slowly, matching her height for the first time that evening. No, I said. We team up with the truth. She stared at me, breathing hard, then grabbed her coat. This isn't over, she said coldly. You have no idea what I'm capable of. I nodded once. Neither did I replied. She stormed out, heels echoing sharply against the floor, leaving behind a silence that felt clean. Emily and I sat for a moment longer. No triumph, no celebration, just the quiet aftermath of something irreversible. Are you okay? She asked. I exhaled slowly. I will be. She nodded. Good. Because the next part won't be quiet. I looked at her, curious. What do you mean? She met my eyes, her expression unreadable. Derek doesn't lose gracefully, she said. And neither does Vanessa. Outside, the city lights flickered. Somewhere beyond that calm, consequences were already gathering speed. And this time, I wasn't bracing for impact. I was ready to direct it. I didn't go home after the restaurant. Not because I was afraid of Vanessa, but because I was done pretending the house was still a sanctuary. Some places stop being safe long before you lock the door behind you. I checked into a quiet hotel across town and sat on the edge of the bed, staring at my phone while the city hummed outside like nothing had changed. But everything had. Vanessa didn't call that night. That told me more than any argument ever could. The next morning, the fallout began. She sent messages that swung wildly between anger and nostalgia. Long paragraphs about misunderstandings. Sharp accusations about betrayal. Then sudden softness. Memories. Inside jokes. Promises to start over. I didn't respond. Silence was no longer fear. It was control. Emily reached out instead. One message. Direct. Focused. Derek knows. He's unraveling. I believed her. Men like Derek thrived on image. Power. Control. The idea that two people he dismissed as background characters had compared notes. and worse, coordinated, was intolerable to him. Within days, his confidence cracked. Emily filed first, quietly, strategically, not out of rage, but clarity. She documented everything. Messages, travel records, financial discrepancies. She didn't scream or threaten. She let the truth do the work. Vanessa chose a different path. She tried to rewrite history. She told friends I'd grown cold. Told family I'd become distant and controlling. She framed herself as someone who'd been pushed away. I didn't correct her. I didn't need to, because lies collapse under their own weight when you stop propping them up. When the paperwork arrived, she was stunned. I had already spoken to an attorney, already protected what mattered, already separated finances, already documented timelines. The man she thought was asleep at the wheel had quietly taken the keys. When she realized that, panic set in. She showed up at the hotel unannounced. Eyes red, voice shaking. "You planned this," she said. "You were already gone before I even knew." I met her gaze calmly. "No," I replied. "I just stopped waiting for honesty." Her anger resurfaced, sharp and frantic. "You ruined my life." I shook my head. "No," I said. "You gambled it." She stared at me, finally understanding that there was no way back. No dramatic apology. No emotional leverage left. She left without another word. Weeks passed. The dust settled. Derek lost more than a marriage. His reputation took a hit when timelines didn't add up and stories conflicted. Emily never gloated. She didn't need to. Watching the truth surface was enough. Vanessa moved out of state. New job. New circle. A fresh stage to perform on. I stayed. I rebuilt my mornings. My routines. My sense of self. Not by becoming harder, but by becoming clearer. I learned that love without respect becomes a transaction. That loyalty without honesty becomes self-betrayal. And that revenge doesn't have to be loud to be powerful. Sometimes, the strongest response is simply refusing to be rewritten. Emily and I didn't become a couple. People always ask that. Trauma doesn't automatically turn into romance. What we shared was something quieter and stronger. Mutual respect. We walked away intact, wiser, awake. The night at the restaurant wasn't the climax of my story. It was the moment I stopped being a supporting character in someone else's lie. And for the first time in a long time, the silence felt like peace.